ish minutes.
All right. So, do you want me to intro this episode?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Well, everybody, welcome to the Safe Space podcast. We have a pretty interesting episode. Back to our regular scheduled programming. So, I am Sydney Razant, co-host.
I'm Aisha Sabara.
And we are missing Lauren, but that's okay.
Yeah, we got some things in the works. Don't worry. Y'all will see Lauren soon.
You will see her. You'll see her. She's just, doing her thing, working.
Again, doing what she need to do.
Precisely, and now she should. So, I feel like we've kind of come up with a, decent
niche.
Yeah. We're basically, each episode, we kind of want to touch on a specific, question.
Yep.
And then
kind of branch off from there, see
where the convo goes.
Yeah, and see what y'all think about it.
Exactly. So thoughts? The question that we decided on today was, you asked it.
So the question for this podcast is going to be, are we actually doing what's necessary to prepare ourselves for serious relationships? So that can really go a lot of different directions. So I will ask again, that's our general question. So Sydney, what do you think about that?
I think it's interesting because I feel like everybody talks about because we kind of came to the consensus on one of our previous episodes that a lot of us are interested at some point in being in a serious relationship. Yes,
or at least both of us are.
Yes.
So
and I think it's a good question to sort of reflect, okay, is our decision making and how we live our lives, does that reflect what we claim our goals to be?
Are we doing what we need to do?
That's what I'm saying. Are we doing what we need to do?
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing is okay, so what does I feel like,
what does that entail?
Exactly. What exactly are the things that you have to be able to do to be in a relationship, period? I guess is the question. Or to be able to maintain a serious relationship.
In my opinion, that actually doesn't have to do a lot with your partner, at all. In my opinion, it's 100% a you thing. I think there's kind of certain steps that you must take before you should even really kind of enter the dating world, which are one, you need to make sure that your mental / physical health are good.
Agreed.
Because it's something that's so time consuming, and it's something that's so every relationship is different, but it impacts your life because you're kind of centering around one person, your significant other. They're called a significant other for a reason. So before you can focus on being with somebody, you got to be able to be with you.
Fair.
If that makes sense, you know what I mean? That same logic behind the you can't expect somebody to love you if you don't love yourself.
Agreed.
So I think the biggest part of that is making sure that you are mentally well, and you are mentally good with yourself. And that immediately falls onto being emotionally mature. Because I feel when we talk about are you ready to be in a relationship? We don't talk about the emotional maturity that needs to be in a relationship. We kind of look at it as an ideology of oh yeah, I'm ready to be in a relationship. I'm ready to be with somebody else.
That I feel like people say whenever somebody says oh, I want to be in a relationship, it's coming from almost the perspective of I want someone.
Yes.
I want a companion, as opposed to I can be
one. Yeah.
A good companion, which is I think kind of I think that's where our question focuses.
If you are ready, or if you're doing what you need to do to be a good companion.
So in your own personal life, do you feel you have the qualities that are required to be a good companion at this point?
Some of them. I think a lot of things are also a work in progress. And some things you just kind of learn with time, because I'm not going to say I am, because I'm not in a relationship. So the minute you get into a relationship, you can be kind of bombarded or brought to other realizations of things that you could have never even thought about in regards to oh, I need to do this in my relationship. but I would have never known that had I not been in a relationship. You know what I mean?
True.
I do think most of like the general qualities, like I've like ascertained in order to be in like that period of like, I can be in a relationship. I have to see if I've grown into the qualities of I can maintain a relationship.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because personally, I think I have a bit of them. Like, I do think I know myself well enough now, and I know what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with. And like, I have certain standards for myself in my life that I've already set that I know won't sway, which is like a huge part of being able to be with somebody else, like knowing what you want to be with yourself. So I feel like for the most part, I have those qualities down packed. And I would say like my level of like emotional maturity is like pretty high. Okay. So I think like in that aspect, yes. Other than that, I'm trying to think of other qualities that you kind of have to be in one, like.
Well, I mean, I think there's things that you kind of like also have to know about yourself. Like you have to know like, oh, what are my attachment? Like, what is my attachment style? Like,
what are your love languages?
Yeah, stuff like that. But I wonder like what exactly can you do as a single person? Like, if somebody was like, right now I don't think I would be a great partner to whomever. But like, what can I do? If somebody was like, what can I do to like improve? Like, I wonder what are the steps that you can take? Like, is it like you have to go to therapy? Because not everybody can afford therapy. Like, do you have to like, maybe, I don't know, like.
Well, if we're talking like, I think I'm going to kind of bridge this on more of like a mental health, mental maturity aspect. Because that's the part that I can really speak on for me, I guess. There are little things that you can do that will help, even if you don't go to therapy. Because I don't go to therapy, but I've figured out like my own little things that help me kind of deal with like my anxiety or like waves of like seasonal depression, stuff like that. I figured out how to handle that and how to like deal with it step by step. That like steps wise, like I wasn't doing that before, which is why things could get really overwhelming for me very, very easily. And I started doing little things like I bought this journal and I was like, one, I wanted to start journaling so that I was getting all my thoughts out every day in a way that I could like, I'm not just thinking, I'm writing, and I can go back and read what I'm writing and be like, so this is how I'm feeling. Getting it out. It's like another way of getting it out other than like speaking to somebody, which I think can help people a lot. Or carrying something around like a journal, but not necessarily journaling every day. Journaling when you're starting to feel whatever emotions you feel like can consume you, like self-deprecation. Yeah. When you start feeling self-conscious, when you're feeling anxious.
So that way you writing these things down,
you're getting it out.
If you were with somebody, you wouldn't have to rely on them to
exactly,
like
because
pick up the pieces and stuff like that.
Because that's something I feel like that can create a dependency on people in relationship. And if you're not healthy or that other person's also not healthy, it can be extremely detrimental because at that point you create a codependency, and that's not good for either of you because it's like now each person's kind of neglecting how they're feeling or how their significant other is feeling to try to like deal with each other. And it's a recipe for disaster sometimes. So it's like you have to find a way to cope with yourself before you can find a way to cope with others. And that's one way that I think is really, really like beneficial. Honestly, every person I've ever told like, hey, take up journaling if you're feeling like some type of way. And they've tried it. They told me that it's actually helped them a lot. Or I'll like, sit on the phone with them and they're like, I'm going to write down how I'm feeling because you told me that it might help. Yeah. And they do it. And they're like, it actually does feel very relieving. If you're a person who feels like they need to like communicate, like talk it out, but you feel like maybe you don't have somebody to talk to, there's ways to get around that too. Yeah. I feel like one way, we all have stuff like voice memos on our phones. Sometimes you might need to just sit it down, press record, and say how you're feeling. Say it out loud because most of the time it's just getting it out. Yeah. Say it out loud. Sit back, listen to what you're saying. And listen to what your feel, you know what I mean? Like, don't like neglect what you're feeling. Get it out there.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like you can't get it out to someone, that doesn't mean you can't get it out into the open, you know?
True. This is very true.
So it's like, even that way, like if you don't have somebody like a therapist or somebody that you can like go to / rely on, you're giving yourself little coping mechanisms.
This is true.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like all a game of life, you know what I mean? Like, those coping mechanisms might change. They might not work exactly the same way for everyone, but it's all about figuring out how you can express yourself in a better, like in a good way, to positively impact you in the future. You know?
Agreed.
How about you? Do you have anything that you've used kind of to like cope with or anything like that? Because I know you play sports, so I don't know if that's like a coping mechanism for you or...
I mean, I've never looked at sports as like a coping mechanism in the sense of like, oh, like if, you know, this is preparing me like to be in a relationship. But like, I think playing sports prepares you like with how to deal with people just in general, right? Like having to, like being on a team, you have to manage personalities and different like egos and things of that nature. And then you also have a common goal, which I think is present in a relationship. Like the goal is to like build chemistry, which is the same thing like on a team. You're trying to build chemistry.
You do have to build chemistry,
and you're trying to, I guess, well, on a basketball team, you're trying to win as many games as possible. But like in a relationship, you're trying to see how far, how far you can go. So I think like those things obviously like kind of cross over and make it like it makes it easier to know how to just deal with people in general. I also think the thing that probably has prepared me most for, or maybe not most, but just prepared me in general for like interpersonal relationships, not just anything romantic, is like how I'm kind of well traveled in terms of like where I've lived. So living on like opposite sides of the country and with kind of like different spectrums, like of like socioeconomic spectrum. So like being around people who are like ultra like rich and stuff like that, and then being around people that maybe are more middle class, lower class type thing, like you kind of get a sense of like how people act. You know what I'm saying? Like you like understand like okay, somebody who doesn't have a lot, when they get something, is more likely to flex. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Or stuff like that. Like you kind of like just pick up on like small things. Yeah. That people do, and then it just kind of makes it easier to deal with people in general. And I don't know, I think like, and sports just helps with general confidence in yourself. Like, you know, like, okay, if you want to be good, you have to prepare. Yeah. So I guess like, it's like the same thing with maybe like your looks, right? Like, okay, you want to look good. So you have a lot of acne, Sydney. What do you need to do to fix it? Yeah. Right? Type beat, like, okay, you go to the dermatologist, Like, you want to look fit, so you have to stay in shape. Like, you got to work out, all that stuff. Like, it's very like, you want this result because you feel like this result will make you feel better about yourself. You have to figure out the steps to get to that place. Yeah. I don't really know if I'm answering your question like directly, but like, no, I think that's like, I've never done something to be a better partner. I've just done it to feel better about myself. And in turn, that will make you a better partner. That type thing. Yeah. No, that makes sense. But I have a question. So I watched like a clip on TikTok, like of a podcast, right? Okay. Y'all follow our podcast on TikTok too, Safe Space Podcast. We have and like our Instagram, if you don't. Yes, follow that too. We have like 40 on Instagram, like 4 on TikTok. So, and the 4 consist of like me, you, Lauren, and Spencer. Does Spencer even follow us? He follows, but does not watch apparently. So. You know, we gotta do a little bit. We gotta do better. But I'm trying to think. But yeah, so I was watching a clip, right? And so they were talking about how like, so it was like a bunch of guys and it was one girl. Yeah. And so she was saying that it's kind of weird how guys will say that they don't want a girl who's like all like blinged out and like has a lot of makeup on and But when they go to the club, they'll probably pick the girl who has like the most makeup on, like is completely blinged out, like whatever, is dressed the most, you know, what's that word? Like is dressed the most promiscuously or whatever the heck, right? And they're like, oh yeah, like we'll go talk to her, but that's not the one we're gonna wife up. But like, my question is like, are people in general, like not just you, but are people in general actually going to the places where they think they would meet their actual significant other? Because if you socialize, right, you're always going to the club. Yeah. That means that your dating pool is people who are clubbing. And now you can kind of like tell. Like you can say like if somebody is like always going out, like they're probably not
looking for something serious like that, or like looking to be the.
And if that is where you're meeting your significant others from, because like the more you interact with those people, the more likely you are to date those people.
Yeah.
So if you date those people who typically are not really looking for anything serious or living a lifestyle that's not really conducive to a healthy, like, or a successful relationship, like how can you ever find your wife if you're only going to the club and you know you can't find your wife there? You know what I'm saying? So I guess my question is, do you think people are actually frequenting the places where they're going to find their significant others?
Absolutely not. Not at all. Especially within our quote unquote like dating pool, our dating demographic, kids our age. I'd say between 18 to like 24. I feel like that's a fair gap. I don't think so. Because I think this kind of goes back to touch on what we were talking about our generation and how kind of socially awkward we are. Because we don't interact with the purpose of like, even though like people will like underlyingly be like, I do want a girlfriend or I do want a boyfriend. We don't know how to interact with each other. Yeah. So what do? You get to the places that everybody's going. You go drink, yada, yada, yada. You end up like frequenting stuff like clubs and stuff like that. And that ends up being the only people you can interact with because those are the people you're around. But that doesn't necessarily make it the people that you want to be in a relationship with, because as you said, like they're sitting there and they're like, oh, that's not going to be like my wife. But it's like, where are you going to find your wife? Yeah, are you waiting for the off chance that your wife would want?
My thing is like, if you're always interacting with like the women that you say that like could never be your wife, the promiscuous women, or like the women who like they wear like makeup and like that, doesn't make
it doesn't make sense. But yeah,
that we can touch on that at a different time. But I'm just like,
no, I don't think
those are the ones you always pick. Like you're not if somebody if
your wife is in a library somewhere,
that's what I'm saying.
You're at the club.
That's what I'm saying. But like the woman who looks the way you want your wife to be with no makeup on, walks in the club with like, I don't know, like a polo shirt and like jeans on or something, you're gonna be like, she's not dressed for the club, and that's weird. Yeah. And you're not gonna. You're not even gonna give her a second.
People are going off of pure like chance. Yeah. They're like, I'm hoping they will be there because they don't know where else to go to find them.
Well, where besides the club, where else do you go to find a significant other?
Well, that's another issue within our age range. Where do you go? Yeah. We're like, and like for us, we're in college. So it's like, yeah, we're around a lot of college kids, but there's not a lot of, unless you're in like a fraternity or sorority, a lot of the parties can be very cliquey. You don't know much about them.
Well, you go to the party with your people.
Yes.
You don't go to meet people. You go with your people
and you hang out with your
people at the party.
Exactly. When you go to a bar, you might
intermingle, but that's pretty rare.
When you go to a bar, sometimes people will come up to you and be like, "Hey," like, but
I feel like I've been to like 2 bars. I rarely go. I think I've been to like 2 bars.
I've been to a few, but with my people.
Yeah, never like by
I'm
myself.
I'm there with my girls. Like I'm there to hang out. You know?
Okay. You know, like in the movies where, but these are like adults. These are like real adults when they're like after work and they're they go to the bar like, with their friends, and then they're just like standing there, and then they're like, oh my god, go talk to her. and they're like, hey, they're like, give me a whiskey and get her a whiskey too. Or something like that.
Yes,
that I know. Does not. I just feel like that just does not happen.
We're not bold enough
at all.
They're not bold. This goes back to like, I said it before. I've probably said it in the past like 2 or 3 podcasts we've had. People aren't about it
at all.
They aren't about it, and that's okay because I do think our generation has a lot of social awkwardness that needs to be like combated. I don't really know how it'll be combated though, but like it's one of those things where you're like,
because the only places, okay, like let's say a club, because everyone's dancing on each other, like, or whatever. Yeah. There's that. Then in college, you have your college parties. So like, I guess you could meet people there, but that's gonna be kind of hard. And plus, you pretty much know everyone anyways.
Yeah, low-key. Like we will interact with each other, but it's not like that.
You've already determined who you would like date and who you wouldn't. And so usually it's wouldn't.
Yeah.
TBA. It's more wouldn'ts than woulds.
And it's crazy because I feel like the majority of people are like, I do want to be in a relationship. Like, I was actually surprised because one of my classes, like last semester, we were sitting there and it was a foreign language class. So they were teaching us like how to say like basic stuff that maybe you'd need in college. Like,
hola, ¿cómo estás? That Spanish, that random Spanish class.
I'm not taking Spanish again.
Aisha has taken like 9 languages in college, where she's taken like all the beginner. She's taken like the beginner classes for each course.
And you know what? Okay, in my defense, I speak like 3 of them.
This is true.
So it's like true. I didn't need to go past there. I just needed a refresher.
A little pick me up.
Yeah. Spanish is not happening again.
That one doing that. That was rough. We'll never understand why.
That was rough.
We'll never understand why. You were just like, so I'm taking Spanish.
The amount of people were like, I know why, and I was like,
Spanish?
I was like, I think it'll be easy.
And then the thing is that made it worse is that your Spanish teacher would just
speak to me in French.
Yeah.
I was like, what language am I in? My brain was so confused.
You were confused the whole time.
I was so confused. That was so traumatizing. But in that class, it like asked a question. It was like to like some of like the frat boys, because you know that's who was in the classes. It was like random frat boys, and it was like, you have a girlfriend? They're like, no, but I wish.
Not that, like, but I wish.
You know, like it was like the amount of people who were like, I'm single, but like I actually want to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
I just kind of haven't found it, was like baffling to me. Like
they haven't before. But the thing that's interesting is like they say they haven't found it, but like, are they actually looking?
But
are they actually searching, or are they just wanting it to find them?
I think they want it to find them. I think that's the easiest route.
Yeah,
but it's like, how do you find it?
I at this point we've entered like
the digital era. All you have is like Tinder and Bumble and all that stuff, and it's like I've gotten to a point.
But the thing is, you know what's interesting? I was talking to my dad about this, and he was like, well, I was saying what's so annoying is that we are at the mercy of like huge conglomerate corporations who have something to gain.
Who don't want us to get into relationships.
Yes, they have something to gain by keeping us like out,
in the dating pool.
Exactly, because the more you're in the dating world, the more desperate you're going to be,
and the more money they make.
And the more you might be willing to pay. How much is the Tinder, whatever the heck?
Shoo.
What is it like? Wait, check it. Isn't it close to $20
for like
a month
for like the premium?
But like, think about it.
Is that what we're asking?
Yeah. Whatever the most expensive plan you can get for Tinder. I want to know how expensive it is.
I also wonder if it's different prices for different people. Sometimes I wonder that.
They can do that.
Listen.
And would.
So, from what I'm seeing, price-wise, updated in 2020, platinum, monthly costs, they got a 1 month, a 6 month, a 12 month, okay? For each of them. Platinum, I guess that's the most like basic plan you can get. No. Plus is the most basic plan you can get. It's $4.99.
How much is something that's $4.99? ESPN Plus is $4.99.
Paramount Plus $4.99.
Okay. Now next.
I pay for my Spotify bundle.
What is it?
Spotify, Hulu, and Showtime. I pay $5.99 a month.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Right?
Next.
Platinum. These prices are crazy. I'm gonna tell you the 12-month prices for each of them. So plus $19.99
a month
for
$19.99, $20.
It says that's
what subscription can you? That's more expensive than Netflix. Wait, it's $20 for a year.
That's what it's saying for the plus, like the most basic one.
Okay, and what comes with plus? What do you get with that? We are not. We're not. What is it called? We're not sponsored by Tinder.
It looks like the prices are different based on your age too.
Really?
I'm gonna go on the actual Tinder app and see.
Okay, so you were on the internet, like
I was on the internet doing a little bit of research.
Okay.
Let's see if you're on Tinder and you go on. So how do you even use this? Okay, let's say you wanna Tinder Platinum, Tinder Gold, Tinder Plus. That's what you're working with.
Okay.
Okay. Tinder Platinum prices. Bro.
And we're not by any means making fun of anybody who uses.
No, not at all. I'm just like baffled.
Saying, like,
I'm low-key just baffled by the prices.
Just the idea of like how we're like our generation is
and the way that they're like also like portraying it is like actually crazy because it's actually very confusing.
Okay. So what are they saying?
Like, so I'm seeing Tinder Platinum. I guess the most. I don't know which one is the most basic.
Do you know what's scary is that I bet like in their algorithm, I bet you the people who are paying, right, are probably even less likely to find someone.
I 100% agree.
Like I bet they're the ones who are making them probably the most money. So like if you think about it, they probably are doing something because like you know how when we would be like, oh, like I never matched with that person. I never swiped right on this.
Yes.
I never swiped right on them.
Or I'll like unmatch and they'll just continue to pop up.
Like that stuff makes them look crazy.
You look crazy.
And
like, it makes you look creepy. And
they probably think like, oh, I matched with this girl. Like, no, you didn't. She doesn't know what you look like. She's never seen you before. So or the people that I swiped left on, and I know I swiped left on now.
And it's like I also want to talk about the stuff that you get when you like pay for this. Like, what are you getting out of it?
Okay, let's see.
So like they're saying Tinder Gold.
Okay. Which is the Tinder Plus is the most basic one, and Tinder Gold is what, like in the middle?
I see Tinder Platinum, Tinder Gold, Tinder Plus. Okay. Tinder Plus, it looks like that's the most basic one. Okay. Tinder Plus is $7.99 a month. Okay. You can do a 6 month where right now you save up to 50%.
Oh, please.
It's $23.99 for 6 months.
Okay. And the benefits of Tinder Plus are?
And the year one is $31.99 supposedly. These are all discounted prices. I don't know the actual prices. They're not portraying the actual prices.
But that's just the discounted like, you know how prices. Macy's has a sale every day? Yeah. If it's a sale every day, isn't that just the regular price?
Yeah. So it's like you get unlimited likes. So you can swipe for as long as you want. Okay. Control your age and your distance so you can limit what other people see about you. Okay. Choose who sees you. Only be shown to people you've liked.
Okay. So those things, so they're incentivizing men on part of it, but then they're also incentivizing women as well with like the privacy thing.
I guess, like, yeah. Okay. Like profiles around the world so you can use the passport. Okay. And unlimited rewinds. Go back again and you turn off ads, I guess. Okay. Okay. So that's Tinder Plus. Now let's go to.
I would never get Tinder Plus to turn off
Tinder
ads.
Gold.
Okay.
It's Tinder Gold and Tinder Platinum, I think. Okay. Okay. Tinder Gold, $24.99 a month. Wow. $74.99 for 6 months. $100 for 12 months. Discounted prices. Okay. And what do you get? What do you get out of it? You can see the people who have. Oh. You don't even see the people who have already liked you. You just match with them instantly. Wow. So like, you know how it's like, what? Oh, you get like the
how do they know if you like that person?
People who've liked you. Oh. So this is like, I think this is more of an incentivized towards men. Okay. Yeah. So like anybody who already like you, automatic match. Mm-hmm. You don't have to like siphon through. Okay. You just match with them. So it's like, for example, I'll show you. You know how like it'll like show you like that little section where you're like, yeah. Uh-huh. So if I were to buy this, automatically every person who I don't already have match with that's on there, automatic match. Oh. I guess. Okay. Which is kind of odd to me. Maybe they just like unlock it and then you like swipe through. Okay. I don't know how it works. So then
you need to find somebody who has one of the.
Somebody who's willing to purchase it because it's not me. Yeah. No.
I don't have the funds for that.
I don't have the funds for that, big man. Check out every top pick every day. So you get unlimited access to all of that.
Okay.
Unlimited likes. 1 free boost a month. Skip the line to get more matches. What line?
See how they do. It's a thing. I actually did some research on this. So there's like this thing. Look up like the Tinder like desirability scale, because there's like a way. There's like because obviously it's like TikTok. Like there's an algorithm.
An algorithm
to get yourself to like be seen more, I guess, and stuff like that. And there's like desirability ratings, and it like
supposedly they say they no longer use the desirability scale.
That's a lie.
Okay, so the basic.
When did they stop using it? I don't believe them.
2019.
Huh?
2019.
So now they just show you to everybody? That can't be true.
I don't believe it.
Because remember when we went to Athens, when I was there, right?
Who I was seeing, who you were seeing,
because remember you were like, "There's no black people in Athens," and then I pulled up mine and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
yeah,
I'm only seeing black dudes.
Yeah, the algorithm is different. I'm telling you, they show
our apps. The Tinder apps are different too. Like depending on the person. Like
plus they try to like match you with people who are in equal like attractiveness, and stuff like that.
But like I think we're just like saying or just looking.
That's what it says
for the sake of like.
For the sake of like just understanding.
Yeah, but like not only just understanding, but like just kind of showing that the odds are against our generation. I hate to be the woe is me
I agree
girl, but like I think that's just like a fact. Like there are huge corporations with hundreds and thousands of employees who all are probably like geniuses in the field of marketing and manipulating the masses into making certain purchases, who are basically rooting or working on our downfall as far as like finding a partner. Like that's what they're doing. Like,
oh my god, there's some things I never even paid attention to that like now that I'm looking at like these pricing, like it makes sense. Yeah. Like have you ever had somebody like randomly match with you or something and you can like see that they've messaged you and you're just like, yes, we haven't, like I didn't even swipe right, like I don't know who you are, and it's like showing like a message bubble. They have Tinder Platinum.
Oh, so those people have it. They can message you
before you match. You can you can prioritize likes. So like you can put yourself at the beginning of who everybody sees. Oh, so like that one person who like I was like I am matched with this person, and then they like creep me out and whatever, and I couldn't see their age and everything, and I unmatched them. I unmatched with them, right? And they continued to show up on my thing like every time I got on the app, and they still do, no matter how many times I swipe left.
The thing that's crazy, right, is that person is paying for Tinder, like they're paying for the service that Tinder provides them, right? And the thing is like, look at how you view that person, right? They might not be like they might not be creepy in real life, like they might be like completely normal.
Yeah, like, but it makes them look crazy. It makes them seem creepy, and they know these people are not dumb. They know that person is not. I'm not saying they're not gonna be able to find anyone on Tinder, but like I want to see what the Bumble one is now.
Me too. It's probably worse. I can't stand that app.
It's just so Bumble Premium, $19.99 a month. You get, so they only have two. They have Boost and Premium. Okay. Premium is the better one, the best. Okay. Yeah. You get unlimited likes. Yeah, you get to see the beeline. So the Bumble Beehive.
Okay. Not the Beehive.
Advanced
giving Beyonce.
Advanced filters. More filters. Apply as many as you'd like. I don't know what that means. Incognito mode. Only be shown to people you've swiped right on.
Okay.
Travel mode. That means every time I've seen somebody say that they're in travel mode, that they're paying for premium. Wow.
And it's a lot of people, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? These companies are
super
making billions.
Swipes per week, 5 super swipes a week, 1 spotlight a week. Spotlight shows you ahead of everyone else for 30 minutes.
Oh, wow. So ahead, and as far as like when, like let's say you're swiping.
When I get on that app,
you're the first person. Okay.
How does that even work if multiple people are paying for it?
who gets to
who gets the beginning of the beginning. Extend as many matches as you like, because it's 24 hours on there. Unlimited rematch. So if somebody doesn't message you, like a girl doesn't message you, you can just keep rematching.
Precisely.
Until
precisely.
Unlimited backtrack. Correct the mistake if you swipe left by accident. That's premium. That's all the things you get. Out of all of those things, when you have Boost, which you pay $8.99 for a month, the only things you don't get are the Beeline, advanced filters, incognito, and travel mode.
So is our generation just screwed? Like, should we just be like, we're just screwed?
Respectfully?
This is what I've seen. This is like fringe. This is like fringe internet rhetoric. What people are saying is that this debacle that we're currently having in society, where we're not able to find a partner, right? Because
how did we get here, though?
Late stage capitalism. That's literally how we got here, if we're being honest. Because we're not able to find a partner. Because you know how like there's incentives when you get married, like tax benefits and like all these things, right?
It's become more economic now.
Because the government realizes that like if you have more married couples, that means you have more families with like two parent households, which means that your society is going to be a lot more productive. Yeah. But you have these companies that are actively getting in the way of that. So you have like everyone's lonely apparently, right? Or trying to find a way to cope with being single, right? Not you singing. I'm screaming. But what I was watching, and they were saying like this is the downfall because we're not able to find a partner, right? This is going to be the downfall of the West.
Interesting.
But what they said, the only thing that's gonna fix it is the Meta stuff, right? Like the Facebook stuff, is that people are going to now exist in the virtual world, and they're going to get virtual intimacy.
That's scary. No, because I've seen more things about that. Because I was reading, you're going to make fun of me for this, but I was reading the Daily Mail on Snapchat.
Girl, here you go. You're the like African parent equivalent of like CNN, but like with the Daily Mail.
It's the Daily Mail for me, bro.
Every day I get like a snap.
Sydney.
Every day I get a snap, and it's like
woman, Sydney, you will never believe.
Woman breaks into somebody's neighbor's house and eats their dog. Like it's like the most random news.
No, but this is one that I was like actually very baffled. Like I had to go back and I like actually like I think I was in class or something. I was like I really couldn't pay attention to it. I literally went back to read this. No, because it was like the first case of virtual assault.
Yeah, I remember this.
I think I sent you this.
Yeah.
Because it was like
did they sue?
Now they exist.
Did they sue? What's his name? Zuckerberg. How did they sue for it?
I'm looking it up actually because it was actually so baffling to me because I don't think I realized
people in the metaverse acting a fool already.
No, she said she had been on there for like 5 minutes.
But wait until because right now the only way to get on it is to have the Oculus. You know the Oculus Quest thingy, the virtual reality glasses
headsets,
the headsets, right? But wait until they can do it with a contact lens. Wait until then. That's when we're really going to be screwed.
No.
Wait until they can like just put on a pair of glasses and enter into the virtual reality world. That's how like for the
we're entering dystopias.
For the people that have like because there's like a group of like men who've like exited the dating like market completely. Like they might have a Tinder but like they're not getting likes or whatever, like that's pretty clear, and so they just like play video games, do whatever, like they just do that kind of stuff all day long pretty much. Like for those people, like they're going to go into the virtual reality worlds eventually, and that's how they're going to find their intimacy. OnlyFans is the perfect example of it actually kind of already happening. Yeah, and the thing is, I didn't realize this, but OnlyFans is not just pictures. Like these girls are like, they're like girlfriends to these dudes.
Really?
Yeah, like pretty much. This is what I'm not on OnlyFans.
I don't know anything how that about works. That. Yeah.
But what they're saying is that like a lot of like men who are like on OnlyFans, like who use it
like, because I guess you can, like, so it's like a subscription type thing, right? But you can ask the person for more services and then they just charge you. But like, there's a lot of OnlyFans models who've been like murdered by the man, because like, I think one of them got murdered and like wrote down something like, she made me fall in love with her, like something crazy like that, right? So it's like just creating like this unhealthy, like,
I found what I was talking about.
Okay.
The lady, so the article is a mother says she was virtually groped by 3 male characters within seconds of entering Facebook's online world metaverse. Says she described how, trigger warning, a gang sexually assaulted her within less than a minute. A gang. She said she watched and listened in horror through a virtual reality headset as her avatar, a moving, talking, computer-generated version of herself, was groped aggressively in a sustained attack by 3 realistic male characters. That's like baffling to me. I'm very confused.
How does...
I don't understand how it works. She said, it says that on a visit this month, the mother of 4 entered the lobby, a virtual space serving as an entry point. But within seconds, she was pursued by men's avatars who groped her, subjected her to a stream of sexual innuendos, and took screenshots of the attack for several minutes as she tried to flee. She had to tear her headset off.
What in the world? It's not funny, but what?
She had to tear her headset, which covers her eyes and allows her to see the metaverse as her avatar sees, to end the ordeal. So she had
basically
to
unplug. She had to unplug.
She had to like leave.
What in the world?
She said while she could not actually feel the avatar's hands, she suffered from anxiety since the attack and fears of safety with her 3 teenage daughters and other women in this lawless virtual world.
No, it is I knew it was going to be like this. The metaverse. I knew it because I was like, first of all, it was the same.
This is like scary.
Do you remember the Facebook, what do they call it? You remember Ed Snowden, whatever his name is? You remember, what do they call it? Whistleblower.
Yeah.
Remember the Facebook whistleblower? It was like October or something where she was like talking to Congress.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then like...
It was like a huge ordeal.
The next month, all of a sudden, Facebook is no longer Facebook and Facebook is Meta. I was like, okay, so if y'all can't... First of all, Facebook is wild. Have you been on there? I go on Facebook, I can only scroll twice and I'm like...
No, because it's so unfiltered.
I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like, what is this app?
It's so unfiltered.
What is this app?
This is like scary.
And think about it. So that's where at a certain point, our work, our lives, everything is going to be on the metaverse. We have like really gone down the wormhole of like sadness. Like, you know how
saying things like, don't pretend you don't love it.
Oh,
she tried to move away, but they followed her. She didn't know who these people were or have the time to stay and investigate.
And they can never... I don't think it's impossible to hold them accountable. But think about all the internet trolls on Twitter, TikTok. Think about all of them. Now they can just get an Oculus, right, and go on the metaverse and act a fool. And there's nothing you can do. You can't block them. I don't think you can report them. Like, this is worse than social media. I'm telling you,
this is the worst thing I've heard in my entire life.
I'm telling you, it's scary.
Because this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand the metaverse. I really don't.
But that's where people are going to do their dating. Like, and I watched this thing, right? It was the Washington Post, and a woman was she like wore the Oculus for like 24 hours straight, right? Just to see like what's up with this metaverse. You can go to bars, you can go to comedy clubs, you can like and meet people and everything. Like, that's like a thing.
It's like a world.
It is a universe, like, in glasses.
Is this just like gonna become the new norm after COVID? Is that what it is?
She went to work meetings. She went to... I don't think it's gonna be the norm until they can find a way to... I don't think it's gonna be the norm until they can find a way to like make... Because people don't want to wear... It's the idea of wearing the Oculus thing is a lot. Like, a lot of people aren't going to be comfortable with that just yet. But if they can find a way to like
the Google Lens.
Yeah, the Google Glass.
Yeah.
That was a nice try.
Good try. I thought it was cool.
It was cool, but the glass was ugly. Like it was very.
We needed more style.
It was very like, because I was in California when it came out, and it was just very California. It was just very like, here we go.
Very much giving California.
And that was when they had these self-driving
cars.
Priuses that would just be like you would just see it on the highway and stuff. And
nobody's in there, and they're just driving.
No, there would be somebody in there, but they would be like on their phone or something. Like they just were because some of them got in car accidents. Yeah. But,
that's so scary.
The Teslas are blowing up again or catching on fire again.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different
Let
thing.
Elon deal with
it. But I mean, going back to the whole thing, like how does this relate back to like dating
what we were taught, like relating it back to the question we were just asking, my like overview of it.
What is he doing now?
In the mid, I couldn't see him because it just looks black out there, but now I can see it.
Oh no.
That's scary. No, but like to say what I was saying, like overview wise, my lens of it before and my lens of it now are rather different.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, it sounds like it's doomed.
Unless you basically have to just pray and get lucky.
I was about to say, because it already seemed like luck. Because a lot of people aren't willing to do what's needed to like socialize with one another. But
our generation is so like, we get so much hate for being weirdos, but like our generation is technically like in a sex depression apparently, like compared to previous generations. The previous generations, like this is like maybe I guess a good thing, but like they've done more drugs than we have. Not that that's like an indicator, like a like negative thing that we're not doing drugs, but like it's just
there's
the idea
a bigger
of, like,
social aspect that they had that we don't.
That's what I'm saying. That means that like they were going out more, like they had the opportunity to do drugs more. Like we don't do anything.
More socials type things that you don't have to like pay for, like in the same extent as you would in like a fraternity or sorority. Exactly. You have to pay to be.
But then what happens after you graduate?
You only know the people that you met through that.
That's what I'm saying. Like what
you end up with then? One of them.
What happens then? So basically, if you don't find your person now, which is what's happening. The only people I know who are like on track to get married, people they found their people like
are people who met them now or them like right now in high school
or before. So once you start working, and a lot of work is remote now.
How do you mean anybody? This took a very drastic negative turn that I'm a little shocked by.
I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all.
I'm shocked and sad.
But then the other thing is that there's also like, I mean, this kind of is the other question we were considering talking about, is that there's also like this like gap in understanding between both genders, right? Like you have the other gender that's like, or like just the male and female gaze, like how different it is, like how if you ask men like who are the most attractive men, they say like A$AP Rocky, Michael B. Jordan, like all those like alpha type dudes. And if you ask women, they're gonna say like what, like Tom Holland, Timothée Chalamet, like I'm trying to find some black ones that are like
popular.
That are like, I don't know what's his name, like freaking Tyler the Creator or somebody, people like that who are not
aggressively portrayed.
Exactly. Like they don't have like the 6-pack or whatever, like the huge like big arms and stuff like that. So then there's also like the difference between like how each of us views like attraction, right? And then I don't know, it's just I just when you think about it, it's like
there's a lot of issues.
We're low-key screwed.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues that like, because we also don't know how to communicate with each other, like how do we fix it?
Yeah.
Like how?
Yeah. This is a good question for another episode, but like
it's like definitely very much a follow-up like kind of episode type of question. But it's like I do think the stuff that I said in the beginning, it's very important in regards to how to actually like interact in order to be healthy enough to be getting into a relationship. And this isn't meant to sound as negative as it has like kind of become, but like, you know, hold out on hope, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
you be you do what you got to do, and somebody will come along.
That's what I'm saying. You can only do so much. Like, you can't control the circumstances that we happen to like exist in, but like,
and we can't all be influencers or artists. Exactly. We can't all have that access to whatever social circle we want.
Exactly.
And because we don't, you know, the regular, normal, everyday person kind of gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out how to kind of like cope with that.
Well, I guess to end it, what would you say like are some solutions, or solutions that maybe you've thought of
in regards to how like we can do better?
Yeah, like what can people our age actually do?
I think we need to I know as somebody who has like anxiety, I can be a very shy person, and I don't ever kind of put myself out there. But one thing we need to start doing is putting ourselves out there, because the only thing we have to fear is fear of rejection. You know, and it's going to happen one day. If it's not already, it's going to. If it has, it might continue sometimes. But we have to get past that fear of rejection, because if we don't put ourselves out there, nothing is going to come of it. Like all this work that you've done, there's no application, so it doesn't matter.
Fair.
You know? So we need to get past that. We need to work on our mental health and working on coping with it in healthy ways in order to kind of like prevent ourselves from entering toxic relationships or toxic situations or situationships, anything like that, just to kind of give yourself a shot at like longevity. You know,
I think we have to like we can't allow ourselves to be victims of our circumstances, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that some of us are going to, especially people who have like social capital, like are going to have to try to do things to kind of give people a place where they can meet, right? Like, for example, like I've seen there's like this girl, she goes to a Penn, and she created like this like dating show type thing, right? Like just like a cute thing, right? But like that's something that, okay, like this is something that's being run by a person, right? Not a huge corporation, like
but a person.
Exactly. Like, and it was just like this weird, it was like a mini bachelor whatever thing, like type thing. But that is like someone who is like, okay, like I see that people want a relationship, there's a need for it, there's like a need here, I can meet that need in a fun, like cute way, and like while it doesn't have like a huge impact on everybody, but that's something that like everyone can do, because you know tons of people, right? Like I know tons of people. Why not put something together, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like because that's how people used to meet before, it was like through mutual friends. But are we actually putting our friends on? No,
we're not.
And
we're just kind of like having, because like I'll have like get-togethers or whatever at my like the townhouse or something, and it's just like, yes, I am introducing you to my other friends, but like there's really it's not for the purpose of matchmaking.
Exactly.
But I also don't know what people are going like.
But whose fault is that? That's on us, right? Because like that's how people used to meet previously, was like through mutual friends.
That's true.
So they're saying, oh, I know you like this type of person. Like it would be like me, for example. I'm like, oh, I know I used to like this type of person, and she likes this and this and this. Oh, I happen to know so and so. Let me put them together and let them like talk and like see if there's any sort of compatibility there. But we're not doing that.
Yeah, because growing up, that's exactly how you kind of like assume it's gonna happen.
Exactly. We're not putting each other on. And whose fault is that? That's not Tinder.
It does fall back on us.
That's not Tinder's fault. That's not Bumble's fault. That's our fault.
Yeah.
And then I also think like in college, like there are events where you can go to like you know, meet people.
You can
and
join
stuff like
orgs,
that, like speed dating, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We can do those things. We can rent out a space for a night and do those things. Like I mean, I don't have the money to do it like right now. I don't have the money to do that. But at some point,
my friends shall suffer. I'm so sorry.
That's what I'm saying. But like somebody somewhere has enough to do it and isn't doing it, right? So it's just like, I feel like we did spend the whole episode complaining or not complaining, but just being like, oh my God, the world is going to end and we're going to die alone. But there was also things
in my
that
defense, I didn't know it was going. I didn't know that was happening.
Okay, but we were like, oh my God, are we going to die alone?
Oh my God,
like,
the apocalypse.
This is so depressing. But we do play, like, we do have a part
We do play a part in it.
So it's like, we can help each other. Because we have to, at the end of the day, like, my thing is like, people are like, oh, the only place you can meet people is Tinder. It's like, that just cannot be the case.
No.
Like, we can't, I just feel like we shouldn't allow that.
It's the only place that we're comfortable meeting people right now. It has to do with getting out of your comfort space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it was a pretty good, it was a pretty good episode.
Like, let us know your thoughts on it because,
Exactly.
I mean, I was enlightened on things that I didn't know about during this episode and kind of gave me different perspectives.
For sure.
So, would love to hear you guys' ideas and perspectives or what you've thought about our perspectives. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I gotta say.
All we got for y'all.
All we got for y'all right now.
Let us know what else you want to hear us talk about.
Any other questions you got that you want us to answer?